In the movie Finding Nemo, we see a story about a young fish who, while at school, was tempted to go and touch the butt in order to prove himself to be brave in front of his friends. Now, Finding Nemo, we can see that he used this temptation to go and touch the butt, which ultimately led him to being captured and having to leave his dad, Marvin, to go and find him. Now, this brings us to our quotation today that states that, "Lead me not into temptation, I can find it myself, by unknown." And we can interpret this to quotation to mean is that temptation in some instances can be good. And in the instance of Finding Nemo, we saw that it was good because it led to Nemo's father to be able to come out of his shell and ultimately be able to go and find Nemo instead of just staying in that shell that he was so comfortable with being in. So we will agree with this quotation, and we will be proving this through two main points of analysis. First, we will be looking at how wars can be started most of the time because of temptation. However, sometimes these wars can bring about something new that can actually be good for us. For example, we'll be looking at the overwhelming theory and then the movie Ender's Game. Now, in the overwhelming theory, there was a war between a vast empire and the Ottoman Empire, the Chinese Empire, and this Ottoman Empire had just finished a war, so their soldiers were not to the best capability. So what they decided is that they were going to create clay soldiers. Now we see that there was their overwhelming temptation, so that they did not want to lose this war, so they had to win. So they created these clay soldiers in order to overwhelm their opponents, and then their opponents just looked at the vast majority of how many soldiers they had and turned away. So we see that this temptation with war can ultimately lead to a peaceful way of ending a war, because the Ottoman Empire actually thought of a new way of fighting a war that actually includes no fighting at all. Now we see this again through Ender's Game. And in the movie Ender's Game, the humans in that futuristic society get attacked by the buggers, and the buggers have a huge army and try to use that same overwhelming technique. However, in this instance, it failed, and the humans had to retaliate. Now, the humans themselves too also used the overwhelming theory and just brought in a bunch of ships. Now, the controversy between Ender and his army is that Ender believed that the buggers were just defending themselves, that the buggers were just trying to find water. And ultimately, what this does is that this creates a war that shouldn't have even been fought. So, when Ender finally defeated the buggers, he felt bad for them. And what this ultimately did is that Ender actually tried and in the future to help the buggers and help the buggers find a new home. So we see that sometimes, although war can lead to catastrophic endings, it can also lead to people like Ender trying to find new ways of helping such things as the buggers. Secondly, we will be looking at how temptation actually brings upon our dreams and our goals. First, let's look at Mark Zuckerberg, who just wanted to do something new, and with this idea, he created Facebook. Now, first, this program that he actually developed was just a way to go online and rate girls based on their appearances. That's the original idea that Mark Zuckerberg came up with. Now, after a couple of more thinking and processing, he actually came up with the idea of Facebook. And now Facebook, as we see today, is just grown to this vast, big thing that now owns such things as Instagram and is only getting bigger and bigger. And Mark Zuckerberg, because he was following that temptation as a college student to not only be successful, but to go online and rate girls for fun, ended up being ended up creating his great success as a entrepreneur and creating Facebook. That now today he's one of the richest people in the United States. Secondly, let's look at George Watsky, who takes a different toll on temptations. He says that temptations are the fault in humanity. However, he is a poet who actually uses these temptations, this analysis of temptations to write his poems. So we see that him analyzing temptations and he himself also admitting to the fact that he gets tempted and follows his temptations, which ultimately, as he states, is the fault to humanity. He was actually able to become very successful, and is now well known today in the YouTube world as a great rapper, and is currently just recently finished up his tour, which was inclusive of 40 plus tour dates in the United States alone. And now he is working on his follow up album in order to again prove to his fans that he is a great rapper and he should be well known for it. And so today, when looking at the quotation, lead me not into temptation, I can find it myself by unknown, we can see that temptation can in some instances be good. And we can agree with this, and we looked at this through how war can be led from temptation, but war can create this new ways of fighting and that can lead to peaceful endings. Secondly, we also spoke of how temptations can bring upon dreams and how Mark Zuckerberg used his temptations to go online and rate girls to creating this Facebook world that ultimately was such a great invention. So going back to Finding Nemo and the idea that Finding Nemo was tempted to touch the butt, had he not been tempted and had that not led his father to go out and find him, the movie would not be named Finding Nemo. It'd be Losing Nemo.